Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Good morning once again. Welcome back to a morning social. It's 7:47 a.m. A couple of minutes behind, but I'm here, y'all. Listen, I'm trying to take care of things and still be in motion, so let's get it going. I'm going to get started in prayer because I'm excited to be the vessel that God used this morning to be able to talk to you all once again. So we are live right now on Facebook and live as well on YouTube and live as well on Clubhouse. I will be doing a short TikTok moment in just a little bit, but right now we are live. So let's go ahead and get prayer started this morning. God, thank you. Thank you for waking us up. Thank you for giving us a new day to get it right. Thank you for causing us to inhale and exhale deeply of the air that you provide for us. We thank you, oh Father God, because you have the strength to give us a new meaning. You have the means to make sure that we are set for whatever it is that we're going about in our day. And we appreciate you for it. So, God, we ask that you cover over our lives, cover over our hearts, bring us into a place where we are closer to you this morning. And we ask you, God, to cover our senses, oh God. Cover us up to make sure that we are set to do your will this morning. Not our will, but yours, God. So we ask that we decrease so you can increase through us. And God, if there's anyone who has never had the opportunity to pray, doesn't know how to pray, never was taught, God, I ask that this morning they understand that even a good morning is part of a prayer. If they're directing it to you, as long as they're talking to you like they talk to their friends, or even if it starts with yo, or if it's still what's up, Jesus, it's still a prayer. Until we get to the next level of where you are calling us to, we have to come to you as we are. And so thank you, God, for that. And if you have some of your intercessors, preachers, teachers, fivefold ministry prophets, it doesn't matter, that are struggling, God, right now to get a prayer out, because we already know they can get a prayer through, but to get a prayer out. And we ask you, oh God, that right now let this show ignite them to get back to their place and reignite them to a place of prayer in you, and making sure that they are putting in their devotionals on this morning. And we love you for it, and we appreciate you, God. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, y'all. So listen to this. I almost overslept. I overslept past the time that I wanted to, and not because it was like, oh, I slept so good. No, I was woke up at 4 something this morning, trying to help one of my kids. Got to do what I need to do, and then went back to sleep, and then I woke up again, not even a good 20 something minutes later, from that child calling me to tell me that his the other child needs help, and I'm like, oh, gotcha. Understood. I see what kind of day this is gonna be. It's gonna be about my kids, and that's fine. I'm like, it's always a good thing for me to know that they're taken care of, and that they are having a good day. So good morning, Brianna. Good morning. Good morning. I am excited, just to be back on, and excited to make sure that everything is going just fine with everybody. So I'm in one of those mommy modes today, but I'm trying to come out of it because that was the plan. But God always has his own plan of, no, we're not going to focus in on this or that. We're going to focus in on what I have you focus in on. And although, and let me unplug this so I can balance right there, you go. Although this morning for me, I was thinking, oh, we're going to get up and just talk and have a conversation. God had his own plan, because he was literally thinking about them this early in the morning. And it started off the day of me just telling God, yesterday, God, I just want to be able to be here for my family. And I want to do the things that I need to do. I went and saw my mom yesterday, and she's not doing the best. So it's for me hard, right? And so going through those stages right now, and dealing with her, and realizing that she has decided to give up on a lot of things. I mean, she lost her husband 2020. She lost her daughter in 2021. That was my stepfather and my sister. And so here we are now, and my mother pretty much gave up last year. You can tell that there was a big difference after she lost her husband. And so now it's just like she doesn't want to fight anymore to stay here. And it's really like I had on a plan to be able to do some things that wasn't going to require for her to fight through, right? It was going to be one of those things where I could set up a plan for her to be okay and she would be able to recover. Now, my thing was she might not have been 110%, but she would have at least been at 80 where she could function for herself. And she has declined everything. And I have to abide by her what do you call it, do not resuscitate and do not all of that layout that she has of what she wants done and what she doesn't want because she already has that in place. And so I'm like, Lord, I don't want her to suffer. I just want to make sure she's comfortable. So that's what I'm doing now is making sure she's comfortable. But in the process of all of that, God has opened up this door like, hey, don't forget you got other people. Thank you, Brianna. Brianna says she's praying for my strength. I appreciate you, Brianna. And we're praying for you, Brianna. Brandon let me know what's going on with you. So praying for you as well about your dad. Love you so much. Um, and so for me, it's like really hard for me because that's the only parent that I have. And I don't count her husband as being my dad, but I don't know who my dad is, and I'm on the verge of looking if well, I'm gonna say I'm on the verge of finding him because I have a lot of people helping me look for my dad because he doesn't know about me. So I need to let him know, give him the opportunity to meet this here beautiful woman right here. Okay, that's where I'm at. He gets to meet me. This is exciting for me. And so, in the process, I guess, of me talking to God about how I want to make sure my family's okay because that's been my only goal, God has shown me this morning, like, remember that you have people that you created into a family with you. And now that they are here, those people need you as well. So this morning, it was in my home, my child. And then when he got to work, it was my child at his job, So it was like, okay, I got to make sure they're good. And we had to come back home real quick. And he's like, Mom, she's injured. And, oh, well, let me take care of that. Because I go into mommy mode, like, hold on, let me, she needs this, she needs that. And I'm like, it's cool. I have it here. Please get it. Take it back to her. So I said, be safe. And if it keeps hurting or if she's still in pain, go to the hospital, bump this job. Because at the end of the day, I know you need your job, but they are going to replace you instantly when you cannot work. So I need you to make sure that your body is still functioning. That's where we are. Like we can patch you up for a temporary thing. Get off your shift and go see a doctor. And so that's what was happening this morning. And I fell back asleep, y'all, and woke up at 7:40 and was like, oh no. So I'm like, okay, 7:41. Let me run in here and get everything set up. But the preparation thing, at least I already had it set up on Facebook. All I had to do was open up a room on Clubhouse, and now we are here to talk about what God has us talking about, which is a time in Jesus. I know we've talked about we had a time last night, but today we're going to talk about a time in Jesus because I understand that life goes on and things happen, but when you are planted and grounded in the Lord, it works out best for your life. You don't feel so discombobulated about who you are or what you need to do when you're grounded in the Word and when you're grounded in the Lord. When you have someone specific that you call upon. Now I know that people have all of their different religions and all their different gods that they call to. There is only one true and living God for me, and that is Jehovah Jireh, and He's provided for me all of my life. So in the process of all of this, no matter what's going on, I'm going to always call on the name Jesus because this is my thing. When everybody was going through all of what they go through, you can listen to those that say they're atheists. I've heard it. Hear me clearly. My God, my stepfather was always yelling about how he was atheist and he used to make fun of Jesus Christ. Like literally would tell us, "Oh JC, we had a drink last night." And I'm like, you don't stop playing with the Lord, talking about "Oh JC." Like that's not cool. And he would say stuff, just random stuff. You call on your God because you're going to need him. I got in trouble around prime time. And he was like, and I blew my breath and I was like, oh, Jesus. And he was like, right, call him because you're going to need him. And I was like, yeah, I do call on him. And he was like, he ain't going to show up no way because he's not real. Just Stuff like that just really would bother me really bad. And I was like, I told y'all before, I was in church and I was 13 years old. So I was like, okay, I may not do everything right, but I know better than to do that. I heard that's called blasphemy. You know, I was like, wait a minute, he blaspheming. You know, like this ain't right. Well, in the process of life, this dude ended up falling off a scaffold. Bree over here co-signing because she told me hello. He um he ended up falling because he worked construction and he was helping build a building and he fell off a scaffold. And when he fell off the scaffold, he fell about 3 stories down and he ended up injuring himself. Now, no, it's not. Is the room's not private, is it? Hold on, y'all. I want to make sure this is right. The room's not private. It should have been.
It got a lock on it.
Oh no.
'Cause I was trying to share the room. I was trying to get privacy for that. That's why I was asking. Like, I don't know.
No. I'm glad you
But yes,
said something.
scheduled for today.
Huh?
No, I was thinking, I was trying to share the room for 5 hours, but I was like, it's private. I said, it's private because, some people do like first 10 minutes private, then they open it up to the public. So
Okay.
that's why I was curious.
No, it should have been open. I didn't push the private thing. Let's see. Can I open it up? Oh, wait, there it is. Let visitors in the room. Yep. Oh, I forgot to hit the button. There we go. We're open. All right. Thank you, Bree. So I didn't know that we were locked down, y'all. I had to put y'all in lockdown and kept all the members in here only. So we're gonna release the members and open it up to the people. Um, so see, this is why you have to have people on here that can see, because I don't have my glasses on right now, so I definitely didn't see that, didn't catch it. But yeah, so we he was on the scaffold, 3 stories up. He fell off the scaffold. He ended up injuring himself, which is what was strange about the fall was everything was okay but his foot. So he injured his foot. He was in so much pain. It was a lot happening, and so it was a really, really hard time for me. Good morning, Lonnie. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It was really a hard time for me to be able to have to deal with that at a younger age. I should say younger, because I want to say I was about 20 years old then. So what happened was after he fell off the scaffold, he went into the hospital and they admitted him in. We found out he was diabetic. We found out he had busted his heel open. He had to have that surgery. We found out that he had hurt his back. So that meant he was no longer going to work again. After that fall, that was it. There was no going back to work from now, right? So now you're on disability. He's in a lot of pain. But in the process of him being in a lot of pain, this is somebody who's telling me he's an atheist and he don't believe in God and there's no such thing as heaven or hell. And you're telling me all of this goodness that you're telling me. But in that hospital room, y'all, okay, let me just explain before I say this. I was that goofy kid. I was extra. Like, even though they were doing stuff to me, I was dramatic. So I would be dramatic when I knew I was right. If I got a chance to prove I was right or something came out of it, I took full advantage of being drama queen when I was right. Okay. So while he was in that room, we're standing out in the hallway talking to the doctor, and I hear him moan really loud. And I'm like, oh, he sounds like he's in a lot of pain. And right after that, he goes, oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Okay, you messed up because you said, you told me that, y'all know it's one of them moments. You told me that you didn't believe in Jesus. You told me Jesus wasn't real. You told me that OJC and you used to go out and drink. You told me that I was believing in something that was not a true God, right? You told me how he died and he died. That's what you told me. But you just called on the name of Jesus because you needed help. I heard you. So I go right in the room, y'all. I was waiting on it. I promise you. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's my open door. I went right in there and said, did you just say, oh, Jesus? Don't be calling on my Jesus. He ain't real, remember? You're not going to get no help today. Because you ain't no believer. It's like magic for me. You got to believe in it for it to work. I'm like, you can't, you can't dare go back and sit here and tell me all these years you've been trying to drill in me about how Jesus ain't a real God, but you hurt and now everything's good for you. Now, you can't do that with me. It's not one of those moments. I was so wrong. I was in church, but I wasn't like churchy, so I was so wrong for that. I literally should have known better than to do that, but I had too much fun trying to do it. I'm just saying. I just wanted to get him. Let's just say. I just wanted to get him. And I was like, for you to be calling on Jesus now because you're hurt, you contradicted everything that you ever taught me. Because at this point, you can have that time in Jesus right now. Where God, He gonna come in and take care of you, of course, because that's what He does. You're still His child. But I had to get it out there. Like it was just in me to be dramatic. It was in me to just, oh, I was being messy, just completely messy. But I took the advantage of the time to be able to say, now you calling on Jesus that I've been calling on, to ask me to ask Him to save me from you. And now you're calling on that Jesus. Now, did I have a problem with um, Jesus saving his life afterwards? Not a problem with him saving his life. I did have an issue with him coming to the aid of the person that was harming me. Now, we can sit and think about all of the things that we go through life having to deal with. But when it comes down to it, is it bad to wish bad thoughts on other people? Yes. That's something that I should never do or shouldn't have never done. But I was hurt. I was really hurt. Oh, there come Bree. Hey Bree, hold on. I was really hurt at the time. I was upset. I was not happy about what was going on. I was really not in a place to be able to receive that Jesus was going to come in and help this man that's been abusing me all of my life. Why are you helping him? I don't get how other people who are harmful to your children get help from you, and we have to sit here and watch them get help. And I'm still going to deal with the struggles of him being him. So this abuse is not going to stop if you help him. So now I'm like, Jesus got a choice. He can either help me or help him. But no, there's not a choice to be making. He taken or done by him because he chose to do what his life was set up to do. He saved his life. He made sure he was good, and this dude chose to continue being him. But after that, I chose to be a different me. There's certain things that I was going to accept and not accept, and I wasn't accepting any more of his mouth. I would no. You had to call on my Jesus that you told me didn't exist all my life, that wasn't real all my life. That now you need help, and here you come. So I was like, oh, we are really, really trying to do this morning. Okay. So and then after that, y'all, it kept going. So when I say a time in Jesus with this, it's not, it's what can you hold on to? What can you help out with? How can you assist your family, even in the midst of being angry or being frustrated or being hurt or them being mishandling or them mishandling you, and you still have to help them, and you still have to handle them in a manner that is pleasing unto God. How do you still help that family? What is it that you want to happen in this? Are you going to literally go through life and just not help them at all? Because I can be real petty. I can just stop helping, period, and be like, nah, I ain't going to do it. But do you do that? Because y'all, God wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let me do it with him. Even though he was abusive, and I mean physically, verbally, emotionally, he was abusive to me specifically because we didn't know he was, well, I didn't know he wasn't my dad, right? So you're a stepfather that I don't know is a stepfather, and you're abusive. What do I do and how do I handle this? How do I get there in that place? You're there right now. Come on, that's what I'm talking about. It's so much. You're trying to figure it all out. But in the process of that, I had to turn around and help him anyway. God wouldn't allow me not to. What he did was he turned it around on me. Now he made me do all of his medical paperwork. He made me take care of everything with all of this because mind y'all that I felt like I was kind of under his thumb too, him being my dad. It was a lot happening there. It was just so much going on, and you almost get Stockholm syndrome from being in an abusive home and accepting it for so long because you've been there. And I was still living with my mom, but not living with him. But he would make you feel like you owed him everything. Like without me, you wouldn't have been here. All this stuff. And so I was working through counseling and going through a lot of things and trying to get my own brain back to myself. I was in a very bad relationship, and it was just not a good thing, right, at all. So here we are in that state. So I'm taking care of his medical stuff. I'm doing the paperwork. I'm doing the running back and forth up there. I'm bringing him stuff to the hospital. This man is cussing me out, calling me out my name every single day. But every day when I got out of school, I was headed to the hospital, trying to take care of stuff, trying to get things done. So he made it where my sister, who I didn't get along with, and up until her death, we did not get along like that. Like we would talk and have our moments, but other than that, that was it. To me, she was a carbon copy of her dad. So it was one of those things where when we got ready to take care of everything, he had given her his wallet. So ID, any cash, anything that needs to be paid for, anything he wanted. Like he made me pay for everything out of my own money, which was fine. I'm like, it's what it is. But when you have, oh wait, I'm reading these comments. Bree, Bree said I would have been dropping stuff off with headphones on. I'm not about to listen to you cuss me out. Listen, Bree, I promise you, it would get real serious. It would get real serious because he would literally talk down to me all the time. Would try to make me when they say stepfather syndrome or that Disney Channel stuff when they talk about the step parents and how step parents are like mean and evil. That was my stepfather. That literally was him. And I'm happy to say stepfather because I couldn't understand why anybody's father would treat them like that. Anybody. Now don't get me wrong, he loved Brandon. Couldn't stand me, but loved Brandon. Like Brandon was his everything. Brandon was his buddy. Brandon, I was like, okay, fine, just don't mistreat my son because he tried it once. Yes, he tried it one time, and I went off, and it was like, oh, what just happened? Right, you're not gonna do my kid like that though. Let's go there. Let me teach you how this works. Brandon became blanket. I'll tell y'all about that in just a minute. But in the process of me taking care of the paperwork, he had given my sister his wallet and everything. You gave your daughter your wallet, and I had to go to her to get his ID, to get any information that I needed. It was all in his wallet. So he made me have to go ask her for everything because don't call her to the hospital. Go get the stuff. And I'm like, I'm calling her like, hey, I need you to come up here. No, you're supposed to come get it from me. So they got me running all around the world trying to take care of all of this stuff. One foot because I wasn't driving then, and I was like, I cannot keep doing this. Like this is too much for me. Oh, but I'm glad that he did it that way, y'all. God works everything out for a reason. She stole everything. She took all his money. She took all the money he had at the house, all of it gone. I could honestly say I had nothing to do with that because I didn't have his wallet. I didn't have access to any of his cards. I didn't do anything money. She did it. I had nothing to do with that. So all of that came back. Listen, Bree. I'm like that part right there. All of that was her. And Bree says that mess would have been right there undone. But Bree, my heart ain't there. That's like one of the things that I could never do is walk away from who I think my parent is, no matter how trifling you are. I can't walk away from you and leave you there like that. You can be the mean as a rattlesnake and biting me continuously. I can't walk away from that. It's just my heart. I can't do it. It's like I know that there's always a return on whatever I do. And if I turn my back on you when you're in need, God has to answer to God for that. And I'm not going to answer to God and be like, I knew I could take care of it. But the thing was for me, and it took me a long time to realize, he had me do the paperwork because, being honest, I was the smartest one, and I was the one that's what I did with admin. If you know I'm an admin and I'm going to take care of everything, there was a paper out of line, there was a paper out of work, there was a paperwork that he didn't need. Everything was done. Yes, Bree. So on here, just to reset the room a little bit, you are live with Tennille. I am Tennille with F2G Network, and you are live for the morning social. It starts at 7:45 a.m. every morning, and we are talking about a time in Jesus. And right now, I have up on the stage with me my two breeds. I have Brianna and Brianna Alexandria with us, and we are so excited to be on. So the way that we do this, Bree, if you are able to talk on here, all you got to do is open your mic. If your mic rests open, then I know you have something to say. If you want to just agree, of course, you tap the mic. So y'all know what's happening in here. So if there's an open mic resting, I'm going to yield my mic over to you so you can talk. So that's what we're going to do today, okay? So if y'all got something to say, y'all can jump in. I don't know what background y'all got going on, but if you know you got a clear one, please jump on here and have a conversation.
I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna just say that the whole loving somebody, even though they not there or haven't been there for you, it's a real thing. Because I was there with my father before he took his last breath and passed last weekend. So and then just trying to plan the funeral services, it's like God is always checking my heart right away because I found out some stuff that I'm not on none of my dad's paperwork, none of it. I don't get a red 2 cent. I don't care about it. But part is like, dang, that like our relationship wasn't the best, but you wouldn't thought about me. But however, his friends and my older sister's like, no, he thought about you because she was saying that she had to fight him just to get some type of life insurance so we can bury him and stuff like that. So it wasn't my fault. So I still like 2 days before I found out that my dad was in the hospital, I was gonna write a I hate you letter to my dad. I was. And to turn around like that very next day, that was on Thursday night, I had made it in my heart and my mind, I'm going to curse my dad out because he ain't this and he ain't that, blah, blah, blah. That's the broken little girl. So that Friday afternoon before, we had the vendor event, that's when I had found out. And that's when, like, God was just like, let's see how you're going to react to this. And I just served all that away. I didn't know, like, right now, I don't know how some of the money going to come for this funeral. But I was like, you know what, God? It's not my fault. I ain't gonna do it. It's all on you. I'm just gonna serve my daddy until his cremation. It's I think what it is because part of me is like what I ain't on none of the beneficiaries, so I can leave all this burden up to my sister. Stuff like that. Me and my sister relationship is somewhat estranged. But I said no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna show honor. I'm gonna show respect, and I'm gonna show the love of the Lord within me, even in the midst of everything that I have a low key emotional right to that still don't make it right. I said, God, you don't want me to act like this, so I'm gonna show up as well, not saying I'm God like actually, but I'm gonna show your love throughout this whole process, and it's been healing in a way. It has been healing. So when you are around people that is causing you hell and stuff like that, or don't care about you, what I'm learning is just still remain in God. Because and Bree know this. I done had aunties and stuff like that curse me out, call me all type of deadbeat mothers and stuff like that. But I still show up and be myself. I still pray for them. I still do that because, like you said, at the end of the day, God sees all, and they gonna have to turn around and bless me.
That part, that whole part. It's one of those things where, and I'm sorry for your loss as well. It's so much that happens with that because literally my stepfather passed away in 2020, and we went through so much drama. I believe personally, for me, I don't know if anybody else believes this, but I believe that funerals are where you go to show respect of the dead, right? That's the place where you get to say your goodbyes. That's the place where you all come together to honor somebody. So when he passed away, because of all of the stuff that had going on, I mean, this man literally talked about me when I wasn't even around. I removed myself out of that narrative years back, right? And left them to their own devices. The last time I think I had been in their house, fully in their house, to actually sit down and have a conversation with anybody there was like 2014. And so I would see my mom outside her house. We would go and sit in the park across the street and talk. I would not step foot in their house. I would go to the McDonald's down the street and use the bathroom if I needed to go. And I don't do public bathrooms instead of going in their house to use the bathroom. Why? Because I didn't want to be around him. I'm not giving you an open door to feel like you have a need to say anything. And it was like every time he saw me, it just gave his heart a boost to be able to say something negative to me. This man was calling to another state telling my uncle that I was prostituting myself. I'm laughing now, y'all, because it was silly. I was like, wait, what? And now, mind you, that I'm a minister. So my uncle knew what was going on. He called me like, hey, this is his brother he's talking to. He's like, I'm not finna even address this with you. So my cousin called me like, hey, you know your dad is calling and telling people that you're prostituting yourself, and I was like, what? Bruh, can't nobody afford this. You can't you can't pay for it. Sorry. Like that's not no. Why would we do that? I said, because he's a sad old man and he has nothing else to do. So there was a lot going on with that. Like everything he could try to do, he would do. But in the process, he didn't know that I had figured out too in 2017. And mind you, that I stopped being around and made up my mind that all this is over with a long time ago. 2017, I found out you're not my dad. So I made it my business to call my mom and let her know, like, I know that he's not my father. I took a DNA test through Ancestry. Shout out to Ancestry.com because y'all give the truth. And found out I was half Nigerian. So wait a minute, how am I half Nigerian? Like this is not saying 15%, this is not saying 20. This thing is up there. It's showing me that one of my parents are Nigerian and definitely not your husband. What's going on? And she had to tell me the truth. So for me to find out that all of this stuff, you've been mistreating me all of my life because you cheated on your wife and had a child, and she cheated on you and had a child, and you're mad at her. So you're taking it out on me because I remind you of her cheating on you. Like that's not my fault, but you made sure to treat me as such. Well, in the process of all of that, you have me. You know what, Brianna Miles? I am not finna fool with you, so you make foo foo. No, I don't make foo foo. I haven't learned to make foo foo yet. I love y'all. Y'all so silly. So I was I was thinking about a lot of things in my life, and even over the years, my sister knew that I was not her dad's daughter, and Bree, listen, these Bree's showing out every time I go ahead and learn. Listen, I'm gonna have to figure it out first. I gotta make sure fufu is something I want to eat first. I mean, really. So, like you like some rice as well? Me too. Now listen. So y'all need to get on here if y'all not on Clubhouse and read some of this chat stuff, because some of it I'm not gonna repeat. I'm just gonna laugh. Y'all ain't gonna know why, because listen, they are showing out. But we were at a situation of trying to figure out where life was supposed to go with all of this, and I didn't want to get stuck in a place where all I knew was him. So yes, I've been searching for my father since 2017. I put it out there. I mean, this family came to a team to block me from finding him. Like literally, cousins that are younger than me are involved in blocking me from finding my father. Like this whole family knew that I was not his daughter. Yes, ma'am. I am not his daughter. The whole family knew. They knew the secret, and they've been passing this little secret down amongst all other gossipers and messy people in the family. And myself, my brother, according to him, and my youngest uncle were the three who did not know. And I was like telling my brother about it. He was like, "That's a lie. You are my sister, like my whole sister." This was after our sister passed away. And I was like, "No," because he put up a big thing about me not coming to his dad's funeral. Y'all, I didn't come because I chose not to. That was my choice. I talked to God about that and said, "Do I have to torture myself by being there?" I was like, I don't want to go. I know that I'm supposed to go and support my mom, but I'm not going to go and be there torturing myself in that place with these people. I understand that his family is coming. Now, mind y'all, let me give y'all this. They didn't know. My uncles, they didn't know. Well, I knew one uncle, that I was close to, and some cousins. They didn't know. And so when I told them, like, before y'all even get here, let me tell you about this information that I found out about it. I've been holding on to it, trying to get as much information as I can, but we're not blood related. And their response to me is, "You're my cousin. You've always been my cousin. You continue to be my cousin." And my uncle told me, "You were my niece before you told me this. You're my niece now. You're going to forever be my niece. Don't you separate from me." And I'm like, my fave, when I say my fave, listen, We have, yes, even in death have boundaries. That's good, Brianna. That's real good. That's real good. And I'm like, it's one of those things that I was like, I cannot and will not put myself in a situation where I'm gonna be hurt in my heart because I'm there to celebrate your life. I can't celebrate somebody that's been hurting me all these years. That's craziness to me. I moved myself out the narrative so that I can have a better life. And when I did, my life changed. My life changed, and so did my Brandon's life change. I made it to the point where Brandon was like, well, Mom, is you okay with me going to see him? You can go see him. You can go hang out with your grandpa. That's the grandpa you know. You can go do everything that you need to do. That's fine with me, but don't expect for me to be there. I'm not going. Allowed too much of this stuff trying to be that daughter for somebody who is not even my father that mistreats me. Y'all, it got to the point where when his mother passed away, when my grandma passed away, we he made me go to Alabama with him to go and see her when I was like 16 years old. So I got a chance to see her and hang out with her, right? And I think when we went then, she was still moving about. Everything was good. When I was like 19, she had gotten sick. So me, my sister, and he rode to Alabama to go see her again. Okay? After that, we come back, and when she passed away, they couldn't find him. He was staying with my sister somewhere. They couldn't find him. Did the police come and find me? They came and found me. They found me at my mother's house. I thought for sure they were looking for my mom, and I kept saying, "Hold on, wait a minute. Let me sit here and say, let me go get my mom. You might want to talk to my mother. Is that who you looking for?" And they were like, "No, no, no. We're looking for you, T. Jackson, right?" "Yeah. Why are you looking for me? Like, what happened?" That's when they told me my grandmother passed away. They couldn't find my father because, again, then I didn't know. So my father, they couldn't find him, and they needed to get the information. And I was like, when does the police come and hunt you down to give you information? Well, because my uncle was in the military, and he went through the military to find us because we had moved and nobody told him where we went. And but we had split, so everybody was in different places. So I said, "Oh, wait." Yeah, I listen. I didn't know they did it either, Brianna. I was like, "What in the world?" I was like, "I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I am trying to do the best I can as a daughter, whether you like me or not. I gotta still again answer to God." So I'm talking to them, and I'm like, "Well, why'd y'all find me?" "Well, this is the name we was given." "Well, my uncle gave them my name because I was closest to him, right? So he's known me." I'm like, "Okay, got it." And so I went ahead and I told my mom. My mom was standing there like, "What's happening?" I'm like, "Grandma passed, and they want me to find my dad and let him know." So I told my mother. Me and my mother went to my sister's house, and my mother told him, right? Because I was like, I don't want to be the one to tell him. She's like, "Well, they gave you the news. He's your husband. Like, y'all split, but he's still your husband. You take care of that." So I had her tell him that, his mom passed away, and you deal with his grieving. And I had never heard that man cry, but that was like the first time ever. And I was like, okay, didn't feel. And it's so bad because I didn't feel like, oh my God. I was kind of shocked that he was crying, but it was just like, okay, Jesus, take care of him because I'm going to walk away from this. And then I went and let my sister know what was happening, and she was like, oh, okay. And that's pretty much the way it went for her. It was like, oh, got it. Now, when he passed away, me going inside that funeral home was not going to happen. Me going inside that church for the memorial service because he was cremated, I wasn't going. They invited his family down, and it was not the way it should have been from what I was hearing. I was like, hey, do what y'all need to do. But my brother blasted me all over Facebook saying, who would go hang out with their best friend instead of coming to their dad's funeral? I said, I don't know.
Me, me. That's traumatic. I don't think I get why some people would like, oh, we all have to show up, be there. But I always say this: if that person was not nice to me in the land of the living, why I want to fake it in the pulpit, in the chapel, or whatever, saying, oh, he was good, this, he was good, that, just to make everybody else's wounds feel good. No, And I even told Breeze, I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe God gonna get about me about this, but I ain't gonna lie. And the crazy part was before, like God told me my dad's gonna pass away like this time last year, and I was so angry. I was like, well, I'm not getting up there and say, oh, my dad was this, my dad was that. That's all. I mean, I kind of contradicted myself at the same time. It's just the honor, the fact of it, where I told myself, I'm gonna say how my daddy really is up there in that pulpit. I'm gonna say he ain't this, he ain't that. God said you are not. However, the two cases is different, but I always say, don't fake it when you get up there in that pulpit, because that's a pulpit anywhere it go. Anywhere it go, that's still a pulpit. I don't care if it's a funeral home, you outside of the church, don't get up there a lot. Still tell your truth. But if it's that unbearable, and I honor you for that, for being honest, like, look, I can't do it. I can't do it. It's some people funerals that I said once they pass on, I'm not going, because I just can't. I'm not gonna lie. It make me want to throw up the fact I gotta lie to make everybody else happy. I won't. So don't you ever feel bad, and I know you don't. To say I ain't have to be up with that. That's you. They don't understand the weight that you have to endure and all the things you endure with that man. And the stuff that you ain't telling nobody, you probably take it to your grave. You don't know. I wouldn't have gone either. Almost look. Let me close my mic.
I love her so much. I'm telling y'all, this is where that truth come in, and this is why we do morning social, because morning social is designed to give you the boost that you need for the day, the confidence that you need to go forward, and the actually. I'm sorry, I was stretching back to throw some away, but also gives you that extra comfort in what your decisions are, because we want you to know who God is, what God does, and how you can use Him to better yourself and not get stuck in a bad place. I am honest, like Bree, I love what you said, because all of that is true. Like, I had to make a decision for me, and I mean this family. When I say they turned on me because I didn't come to this man funeral, y'all knew what was happening in the house to us. Y'all knew he'd been abusing me since I was little. Y'all all knew this stuff, and y'all are literally mad because I won't submit to being a doorknob, or submit to being, or what do they call it, a doormat, so y'all can walk over me, and I'm sitting here looking crazy. Celebrate, no. So when he said it, at the time he didn't know that his dad wasn't my dad, but you also did know that he was abusing me, because he was doing it to you, and you've been gone for 25 years. I hadn't talked to my brother in 27 years. You were gone. Like, literally had moved to another state, and I pretty much had wiped you off of the whole chart of who you were to me, because of all this stuff. Because that abuse from their father went from them, well, from him to them. It started with him physically abusing me. Then my sister got in on this, and I was younger then, so I was fighting with her all the time, and literally like random stuff like hitting me with broomsticks, and I was a younger kid. Okay, that around the time I turned 15, 16 years old, or right before I turned 16 years old, my brother started hitting me, and he wasn't even in our household. I would see him outside, and I got to fight him on the street. I'm like, what is happening here? Is everybody blaming me for their bad life? What did I do? And for me to find out later on, it's like I'm just living my little life on my own, doing my own thing. But y'all mad because I'm becoming successful in what I'm doing. For me, I had to change stuff around for me. So here we are in that narrative of I've put myself into a whole different compartment of taking care of my life. Y'all ain't never taught me nothing. I mean, they ain't taught me about guys. They didn't teach me about anything to keep me protected from anything happening to me. Like, everything, I felt like I was just like a sitting duck for being set up. I didn't have a computer. I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't, it was just like I'm literally just stuck. So a lot of things happened that shouldn't have happened to me because of what was set up like that, how I was treated. I changed all of that around, and I made the promise to myself that my kids would never have to go through what I went through. And when I made that promise to myself, I made sure it came true. I mean, me and B still be going back and forth about, yo, I said that wasn't gonna happen to you, so I need for you not to do this because you set me up. Yes, the helplessness syndrome. Yes, and then in the process of all of that too, the imposter syndrome set in for me because I was trying to become somebody and didn't know who I was. They don't understand, and people don't get this. When you don't tell children that their parent is not their parent, when they're if this is their step, tell your kids the truth. Please don't lie to them, because you make them have imposter syndrome. They become somebody that they're not, because they're trying to create a person that they feel like they need to fit into, because they don't know who they are. So for a long time, I dealt with imposter syndrome, where I was trying to be everything to everybody, and I was trying to do everything the right way, and I was trying to adjust who I was. And it took me to find out, hey, the reason why you don't like this certain thing, or you like this certain thing, fits in with the Nigerian culture, because you can't sit still in a place for too long, is because they were travelers. Your history makes you who you are, and when you know what your history is, you know who you are. They hid that from me for 41 years. So for 41 years, I was going through a drama of trying to fit in a place that I shouldn't have been in. Or I should say, I'm fitting in a place where I should have known that this wasn't going to be an outcome, because God put me in that place for a reason. It made me stronger. It really did. I'm a beast at it. You run up on me, it's over. But I'm just saying, this right here was not what I should have been having to go through. And I wanted Brandon to have it differently. So believe you me, I was quick to, this is who your daddy is. And it was funny because I had a boyfriend at the time when Brandon was born who was not his father. And he was like, Dad. And I was like, no, that's not your dad. I'll give you his name. That's his name. Your daddy is this one. This one's your dad. He may not come around often, but that's him. Like I was real specific about that, because I knew what it was like growing up thinking somebody else was my dad. I'm never gonna lie to him. And nobody understood, like, why you don't just let him think such and such as that. No, 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 no. We're not doing that, because I know what how that ends up, and I needed B to know who he was, and he definitely knows who he is. So I'm like, we're not gonna go through all of that drama of stressing him out and going putting him through all of that. It wasn't worth it. So now on this journey of talking to God about all the things that I had to go through, and me not going to that funeral, I literally messed my brother up when I said if he was my dad, I would have went. If he was a good dad, I would have went. Because he could be my blood dad and be a bad dad. I'm not going. I mean, literally, not going. Let's just be real. My sister passed away, and as much as I wanted to not go to that funeral, I went. I didn't sit up there with the family. I sat in the back, because the one thing about her, the last conversation that we actually had before she flipped on me after her dad died, and just I was nothing again. Um, I told her I was writing a book, and I was gonna tell. I was like, I'm not keeping nobody's secrets. I'm telling all the truth. I'm putting it all out there. So I just want to let you know that if it's got something to do with you or not, I'm giving the truth. And she said, well, tell your truth then. And I was like, I can honor that. I said, but you got a story too. She was like, they're not ready for my story. Okay, well, don't do it, but I'm letting you know that I'm gonna do this. And her dad walked in the room. I said, because now that I know that my father is out there and I'm looking for him, when I find him, I'm gonna make sure he knows all the stuff that went on, but letting him know that I'm stronger now. Because everything that I had to go through, I don't want him to be upset about anything. He didn't know. My mother had to tell me he didn't know. So being in that time with God, of talking to him about all the stuff that I wanted to do and how I wanted to live my life, and how I didn't want to be an imposter anymore to myself. I didn't know who I was. I need to be me. I've learned so much stuff just talking to my mom about my dad, because they were keeping her from talking to me. And I was like, it's she held the secret for so long because her husband, and then my sister kept her quiet about what was going on, but she gave me some nuggets about what was going on with my dad. So y'all, I'm on the verge of finding him. Like, down to God will. Well, let me say this first. God will literally um, open a door for you that you don't know is right there for you. Right. So last night I got into a Uber, and I was on my way home, and right when we got ready to drive off, he talks about how he just came from Nigeria, and I was like, oh, that's nice. And he was like, well, my wife is from here, and she like this cold weather, and I like the hot weather. So we having that conversation, and I was like, I want to bring this up, but I don't want to bring it up. And God said, bring it up. So I bring up the fact that, I'm half Nigerian. And he was like, is this your father's Nigerian? I'm like, yeah. He said, are you serious? I said, yeah. He said, there's no half. You're Nigerian. We don't. We don't do that half Nigerian, half American. He's like, you're Nigerian. If your father is 50%, that's it. You're just Nigerian. And he was like, well, sister, let me explain something to you. He was like, you're welcome in this culture. He was like, so when you found out that you contact him, I said, I don't know who he is. This man was like, wait a minute, what do you mean you don't know who he is? I was like, I don't know who he is. So he was like, hey, do you mind telling me the story? So I tell him the story, and y'all, he has connections over in Nigeria, and he has connections through his wife. They are going to help me find my dad. I was like, are you serious? I said, all I got is this name. He said, that's okay. You said he was an international student, right? I was like, yeah. He said, yeah. He started counting stuff up and throwing dates at me. He was like, listen, he said, I'm going to call my wife real quick. He was like, shoot me your number. I'm going to shoot it to her. He said, let's get this started and let's find your dad because he's going to want to know where you are. He said, Nigerian men don't walk away from their families. He said, did your mom ever tell you whether or not he asked about you? And I said, yeah, he did. And when I said he asked about me, he said, because he had a feeling that you were his. He said, and we don't walk away. So if he thought that you were his, he probably still thinks that he has a daughter out there somewhere. Because did y'all move? I said, yeah, we moved shortly after I was like 8 years old. And he was like, okay. He was like, so we need to get you connected back with your dad because he needs to know that you exist. He said, believe me, that's in his mind. If he's still alive, we're going to find him. He said, because people keep telling you different stuff about, they were telling me, I need his whole name. My mom won't give it to me, all of this extra stuff. And then he tells me, no, you don't. You just need to know what they called him when he was going to school here and what school. I'm like, oh, I know that already. I mean, because he was at, Chicago State. That was the only school that was accepting Nigerian students during that year before I was born. And he was like, that's all we need. So I'm gonna talk to my wife and we're gonna help you find your dad. He said, I can't wait to help you get to know your dad and your dad to know you. He said, because once you let him know, believe me, to him you're a gem. And I was like, this right here. Hey, Kelly Webb. Kelly has joined us on Facebook. I'm like, oh my God, it is a time for us to be able to move forward. And I'm so excited that after 5 years, I'm actually going to find him. And Kelly has been like everything, y'all. She is the research queen. She was the one on the phone while my mom was talking to me. She was typing and looking and searching and figuring out stuff. And we were putting dates together and times together. And last night we figured out that my mom lied to me about ages of when she had me and all this stuff. So she was about 23 years old instead of in her 30s. And I'm like, wait a minute. Duh, add the stuff up. But it for me, it's like, yeah, I get it. I'm excited about this part, and God is giving me more and more stuff to write about. But I had to learn too that the stuff that I go through is for other people. When I go through things and I feel like it's going through, it's for a time for now, just for morning social, for me to be able to talk about the life that I've lived, things that I've gone through, and to help other people get through it. So, Bree, if you feel uncomfortable going to this funeral, or feel like you don't want to be there, or feel like it's going to harm you in any way, then don't do it. That's your mental state. Talk to God about it, become, at ease with yourself with about it, and keep moving. I went to my sister's funeral, and what they did to me was funny. They tried, this is what got me, y'all. I am petty. When I say I'm petty, it's hilarious, but it's a funny petty. So I would go to the funeral, right? Everybody's speaking to Brandon or whatever. My niece tried to stunt. So they asked Brandon to play the keyboard. He comes in, and their keyboardist that they hired after they asked him to play walks over and says, excuse me, young man, I'm supposed to be sitting here. So they thought that was funny, right? They thought that was funny. Brandon was so, my child is such a gentleman. He stood up, he said, oh, okay, and went and sat on the drums like, well, I play different instruments, so it really don't matter. That was the first thing. And I started laughing. I didn't walk in with the family. I'm not sitting up there with y'all. Then they tried to make it look like me and my brother were being dismissive to our mother by sitting spaces. Listen, sitting spaces. We Alexander said that's my brother. That's right. Sitting spaced out between my mom and my niece. So instead of my niece sitting next to my mom, we weren't there. She left two spaces between my mom, so it looked like my mom was sitting alone. Y'all ain't finna pull me in on that. I never sit at the front of a funeral. I've already made up my mind. The only time I would ever do that is God forbid that Brandon leaves this earth before me. And the other thing is when my mom passes. I will sit on the front row. I'm not sitting on that front row. It's something, it bothers me. Really, it always has. So my mother's always excused me to go sit in the back, don't sit up front. So I sat in the back and my brother sat behind her. But that's because there was a not the honor wasn't there for my sister. Like you were right in with your dad with a lot of this stuff. And I'm like, I'm trying to be here because you're my sister. And our relationship was different, but don't play games with me. I don't have time for this. So while her daughter was acting up, when I walked to the front, they thought I was gonna walk up and sit down. Nope. I walked to the back. I went up and sat behind my mom next to my brother, let my mom know I was there, and I kept moving. I don't have time for all this extra. So they tried to pull a little shunning move, right? So they literally okay, I'm reading this. That's and you ain't wait, what hey, hold on. Brianna Miles,
No,
what are you
I was saying that you sit in the back also as a protection way, so you ain't trying to knock folks out in the casket. Because I'm pretty
yeah.
sure like they was testing you, like Laura, I'm about to shake the room, so I'm sitting all the way in the back, so I don't hear
Right.
nothing.
Yeah, my thing is, they were all saying stuff anyway. I wasn't paying them no attention. I've learned how to block these people out because I don't care that much about you to give you my attention. Like, I'll ignore you later. That's pretty much, I'm too busy to even ignore you. I don't have time. But it was just like one of those things where they tried to do this thing where they come out, and you know how the police officers, when people come through and they're turning their back on them. So the family decided to walk past me like I wasn't there, right? And I was like, I'm not speaking. Hold on. Now, I'm just as stubborn as y'all because that bloodline is my bloodline. That's my mama people. Y'all mad at me. So y'all walking past and nobody's speaking and y'all just like looking at me and keep going. And I'm sitting there checking my nails and waiting and standing there because it was a whole bunch of they gonna jump me and all this stuff. It was real stupid. So I'm standing there and I'm waiting and I'm thinking, Jesus, we had to talk before I got here and I already told you anybody swing at me getting swung back on and I'm not gonna stop swinging. So protect your children, okay? So I'm sitting there like, okay, we're gonna do this. They walking out, and then one of them got smart, like, ha ha ha. She said, "See, ain't nobody talking to her. She feeling bad." Now I heard her, and I could have ignored her, but I didn't. I was like, I think people think that I care that they got their back turned or not talking to me. Do they realize that they haven't talked to me all of my life? Like literally, this is normal. I need y'all to understand that y'all are not the family that God allowed me to choose for myself, that I'm not hurt because you're not talking to me. I think that people really think they're doing something. And when I started laughing about that, one of my little cousins came up to me and was like, "Hey, T," and I was like, "Hey." He gave me a hug and he kept going. And I was like, "You speak, I'm gonna speak, but all this extra stuff right here, do you?" Guess what's the thing that touched me the most? Y'all tried to keep my great niece from talking to me. Okay, I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." Did you just say this sound like my family funeral because I was gonna swing immediately? Exactly. Listen, my great niece, she sang at her grandma's funeral, and I mean her little heart out. She's only what 8, so she came over to me and said, "Granty," and I said, "Hey, baby," and she said, "I missed you." Now, mind you, that me and my sister do favor, and so she was just looking me in my face, and I knew she needed that moment, so I gave it to her. I'm gonna sit here as long as you need to look at me. I understand. And she was just rubbing my face and she was like, "I love you." And I was like, "I love you too." And she gave me a hug. And I was like, if your goodbye needs to come through me, then you do that. You do whatever you need to do for you. But I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to allow you to have that moment. Because why would I take that from you? You're a baby. And I need you to have what you need. And so, in the process of her hugging me, her mom then had a little attitude. I don't care, y'all will be all right. I gave her her hug, I squeezed her, and I let her go. In the process of me letting her go, all I could think to myself was, Jesus, just let her grow up to be the amazing young lady she is. Let her voice just expand out because she sings like her grandma sang. That was their thing. So let her have that moment. I wanted her to be strong. I'm not gonna sit here and dwell on the fact that y'all acting special. I don't have time for that. I really don't. Everybody and their mama wants to sit and talk about how, I was being mean at the front. I wasn't being mean. I sat in the back because that's where I sit. I mean, it's not. I need people to get over that, because honey, my heels were going to come off. Listen, I was like, I set up my own place to be in that place. I never came in expecting for anybody to say anything to me. I had people speaking to me off to the side, hey, how you doing? And I spoke back. When I came out, I walked up to the casket real quick, and I told her, I was like, okay, we had this thing that we had talked about life, and it had nothing to do with like our parents or how we treated our parents, but we had this thing about life and some things that we were doing in life. And she had just graduated from college. She worked to get her diploma. So she had just graduated and then passed away before graduation. So I told her, I said, you did good. You did good, and I'm proud of you, because she was never gonna get that from her daddy. Did good, and I'm proud of you. And I walked away. That was what I said at the funeral. People been wanting to know what I said the whole time. Folks been asking questions. It was nobody's business, but I'll tell you now, that's what I said to her. It had nothing to do with our parents, because if I did that, she'd have got an F. But it had everything to do with her going to school and getting that degree that she always wanted. And I let them go forward with the whole, she was the first to graduate and she finally did it. And I was like, she actually is not. I graduated first, but of course I don't matter. So let's keep moving forward. It was like, let's go. I'm not even going to interrupt that part. Keep moving forward, because you're not the same with everybody else as you were with me. And it's time for us to be able to have that time with God and talk to them and make sure that they understand that this is what's going on. My mom was standing at the casket when I walked up there, so that's why I went up too, was to hold my mom up. Y'all, did they try to shuffle my mother away from me? Let me tell you, I this was a deep time. When I say a time in Jesus, let me tell y'all, I had prayed for real. I had to pray before all of this stuff. I had to pray throughout my life. I learned how to pray because of what I was going through. I wasn't gonna give up or give out any of the negative energy for these people. People want you to act a certain way, so they will treat you a certain way so you can respond a certain way. You're not gonna get that from me. You're gonna get all smiles, all laughs. Here you go. You're gonna get all that from me. I'm gonna laugh at you in your face. Because I'm not going to sit here and play games. I laugh at the enemy. I laugh at the devil and all his little minions. So every time you start acting up, I'm going to crack up laughing. That's what I do. So when you're acting special, I'm going to treat you the way you're acting. And I'm going to laugh at you, because there's no point in me going back and forth with you. And that's me being the bigger person, because I can react and straight up mistreat you in a totally different way. But I refuse to. I don't want to go there. I literally just want you to be on your best behavior with me, because you have to teach people how to treat you. And I think in my life, I've done that. I've taught people how to treat me. I've told them how they was going to do and what they wasn't going to do. And then I would back off of it. But then I came back like fully strong this time. No, no, no. This is the way you're going to treat me. This is what's going to happen. With all the lies that's been told on me, all the things that has happened in my life, I still use the time I had with Jesus for me to go forward. I still use that time for me to go and teach other people how they're going to treat me, and teach them how to get people to treat them. Stop being something that you're not. Stop being. It's literally, Kelly. She said it's a waste of time and energy. It is. Trying to fight with people and argue with people for what? I'm putting stress on my life. I got enough gray hairs of my own. I don't need you add none. I could put names on my gray hairs. I used to be able to say this one came from Brandon. Listen, I'm gonna say life was life, and I started off with these grays when I was 17 years old. I probably had them before then and just didn't notice them. Life did that. But I'm not going to allow you to add to me. When I go white on my hair, it's going to be because I chose to go and dye it all white. I mean, I'm not going to let you stress me out with my hair falling out and all this extra. I don't need y'all help. I got it. But in that process of going through everything that life puts you through, I still remain in the confident place in God. I still remain that I know who He is in my life. I still stay steadfast and unmovable in Him. Because at the end of the day, I still remember back to when you had to call on Jesus after telling me He didn't exist. And I laugh at that even now. that the atheist called on the Lord. I mean, that's my joke. It's internal. It stays there. I'm like, there's this joke, about this atheist that called on the Lord. I promise y'all, it tickles the heck out of me. But I mean, just like, it's true. I mean, and loudly, by the way. I'm like, yeah, you called on the Lord. You wanted Jesus to help you, bro. You was like, Jesus help. That part, oh Jesus help. Well, you called upon him and he helped you, and you still was the same way. No, I called upon him and he helped me, and I changed. So I think I had the one up on that. And the one thing that I wanted to know before all of this happened, because I did not know whether or not my stepfather knew he wasn't my dad, right? And so what I did was I wanted to know. I asked God, and one of the things that God has given me as a gift is that when certain people who are close to me pass away, first thing is that He removes me from them because to protect my heart when things happen. Whether they're a negative person or a positive person, He makes a way for me to be time apart from them so that I don't get broken. Um, but He gives it to me where I can see them afterwards. So either in a dream or even in a vision or something like that, something comes through. And I wanted to know. And I got the opportunity to see him just in a vision. And I asked, did you know that you weren't my dad? And his answer was yes. That's all I need to know from you, dude. I'm good. I told my mom, I said, you don't have to answer me anymore because I kept asking my mother and she wouldn't answer. I said, because God already allowed me to have that moment. I know that He knew. And then she told me the truth. Yeah, He knew. Like, y'all, when I say the abuse started at a young age, they tried to abort me at home so it can be done in secret. I'm here. I'm a fighter. I always have been. So you can't win that battle. Yes, ma'am. Bree said, I will call upon the Lord times two. Listen, always standing in my confidence because I know who I am. Jeremiah 17:7 says, blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. Listen, I got confidence in God. I got confidence all day long. I can stand on the word of God. I know who I am. I'm not worried about me being lost. I'm not worried about me being scattered. I know where my brain is. I can set myself day by day on what God is doing. Even this morning, waking up to help um, Brandon and then helping one of my other kids that was out there. It just, God does that. And then to still be able to get back up and continue on and do this show. I am excited about what God has for me. I am blessed to be the vessel that He uses every morning for morning social. I'm excited about it. A new title every single morning, and I get to talk to you, good people. Yes, let's get into this. Let's get into the place of being able to say how good God is and stand on the fact that He's always going to be that good. He doesn't change. So if you need consistency in your life, then that's it. He never changes. Never changes. And He never will. That's just like us talking about all of the things that we go along in life. God has never lost the battle. And He never will. This battle already was won for me. Me meeting my Father is already won for me. I already know that. I know that He is automatically, intentionally letting me know that He is going to make sure that I meet Him because it's already set up for me to do so. All I got to do is walk out the process and do it right. That's all I have to do. I don't have to worry about being harmed. I don't have to worry about being hurt. I don't have to worry about missing out. I know that God is going to do this for me. So here we go again. I told y'all my mom's not doing the best. I talked to my brother on yesterday and I told him you need to get here because I don't know how long she has. And she's refusing and literally like fighting people about this. Like, I just leave me alone is where she wants. She wants to be with her husband. And I knew that when he passed away. But I was fighting to keep my mom. I just wanted to keep her around. I was like, I really need my mom to be here. I really can't go through another death. I didn't get a chance to really grieve my sister because I'm still struggling with how I was treated. And I asked God to relieve me from that. So I got to a place where I was like, okay, I cry about stuff for a minute and then I'm done and I move on with life. That's the way I handle death. Because in my head, everybody's going to die at some time. So there's no point in me overwhelming myself with all of this grief when that's life. You were born, you did what you did in between that time that you were born. So somebody said it yesterday. It's like your date of birth. That was Minister Marvin Wynn said it yesterday at church. He said it's your date of birth, right? Your DOB, then there's a dash, and then it's your date of death, your DOD. He said between your DOB and your DOD, there's a dash. What did you do in that dash? So you come in and you live your life during that dash part, right? But in that living your life during that dash part, at the end, you're going to die. We're all going to leave this earth. I plan on going up in the rapture, but this is the thing. If Jesus says that it's earlier than that, then I'm gonna be ready to go. I already told Brandon. I said, listen, understand this. If Jesus come down and tell me, come on, I'm not looking for you. You better be ready to go. Because if he come to get me, I'm pretty sure he coming to get you too. So I'm gonna need you to be ready to reach up and say, let's ride. Jesus and I am designing my father's obituary as we speak. Listen, put it together, make it gorgeous, put your best work into it. You know what I'm saying? Give it your all because that's my thing. It's at the end of the day, it's the same thing that I tell Brandon to do every single day. And any of my kids that I talk to, I will tell them on their way out to a job interview, anything, do it as unto the Lord. Because that's the way we live our lives. We're doing it as unto God. It ain't about other people. I went to the burial for my sister. I did the activities that they gave. They gave out the butterfly things. I shook the little box, woke the thing up, let the butterfly fly away, and I love butterflies. And it was gorgeous. Great. I went to the repast to get my mom drama. Okay. We're not going to do that. Let me shake this up and shift this on y'all real quick about what I'm not going to do. And let me go on about my business. A whole setup that y'all tried to pull. And no. I tried to take care of my mom at home. They wanted her in a nursing home. Nope, let me give my mama her fighting chance. When I found out she couldn't be at home with me and it was too far gone from there, worse than what I thought, I went ahead and did the evaluation. Her doctor asked me to have her done because she said she asked my sister to do it and it was never done. Found out my mom needed more help than I could give her. She ended up in a nursing home. Not a problem, not something I can do about that. I'm not the one that put her there, but I'm going to work with you people. Now I've moved her to a place where she's getting the help that she actually needs because the last place was bad. But in the process of it, she wanted to stay at the old place because they weren't doing anything for her. And she could just do what she wanted to do and pass on. This place is like, hold on, let's work on this. Let's get you moving. Let's get you. And my mom is like, no. Like, that's where her part was. I just want to move on. Do it as unto the Lord. I'm giving you my all because that's what I got. And everything God tells me to do for her, I'm going to do it. And everything God tells me to do about this family, I'm going to do it. But give them my strength and my power, or give them my brain and my consciousness, give them my heart. Nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm done with that. Why am I doing that? That's setting myself up. My husband on his way, he need all that. I'm just saying. I gotta I gotta get that together. Like this needs to be in order for me to be able to move on with my life. And that's what I'm doing this season. So I hope that you all have had a wonderful day. I hope that y'all have had a beautiful morning. I hope that you're enlightened today. I hope that you are pressing forward toward the mark. I'm going to give y'all this affirmation. No, I did not forget. Today's talk was about a time in Jesus. We've talked about everything else, but I kind of want to change up this affirmation because of this. I want to say that the affirmation today is going to be that I do what's best for my life through Jesus. I do what's best for my life through Jesus. And the reason why I'm saying that is without him, you can't do anything. But through him, you can do everything. But your best, if you want what's best for you, do what's best for you through Jesus. So I do what's best for my life through Jesus. That's our affirmation for today. We're going to go into our confessions. Isaiah 42:9 says, we will not live in the old, we will live in the new. We will be anointed with fresh oil. We will walk in new strength. We will connect with new people. We will walk through new doors. Isaiah 1:19 is we are willing and obedient and we will eat the good of the land. Isaiah 2:5, we walk in the light of the Lord. Isaiah 8:18, we are a sign and a wonder. Isaiah 9:4, every yoke and burden is broken over our lives. Make it personal. Every yoke and burden is broken over my life. Now add your name. Every yoke and burden is broken over Tennille's life. If my guests want to say that, they can. I'm leaving the floor open, but I need y'all to remember that you're going to always say that every yoke and burden is broken over your life. And I'm going to claim that over all of your lives. So I'm going to rest my mic. If y'all want to have anything to say before we leave, go ahead, please. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and end out today. Kelly is speaking it over here on Facebook. Every yoke and burden is broken over Kelly's life. Yes, ma'am. I love you guys so much and so good. I am. Oh, Bree, Bree, why are we crying? We got the crying and laughing faces all at the same time, y'all. It's amazing time. I love this time to talk with y'all, and we'll be back at 7:45 a.m. Don't forget to go on patreon.com/F2G and subscribe, y'all, because a lot of these shows will be on there, but we have a series that will be starting over on that page, and you don't want to miss what's going to happen. We have some exciting news happening that is transitioning time for us with F2G, so a lot is going on. I want y'all to be a part of you all to get a chance to see a little bit more of Brie Alexandria. So come find out how you want to do that. And then also making sure that you are listening into the radio station. We are running 24 hours, 7 days a week. We don't stop because God don't stop. You ready for it? F2gradio.net. Come over, y'all. Subscribe to the newsletter. Get the good information. Find out what events we're having. Get the opportunity to hang out with us. Never know what's going to happen. Never know what's going to happen. We talking about no sleep. Listen, you better find you some sleep. Put you on the schedule. Put you on the schedule, okay? Make sure that you get it. And if you want to donate to F2G Network, you can do that through Cash App at F2G Network. And then also you can send for a PayPal invoice by emailing info at F2G radio dot I'm sorry, F2G Radio. See, I'll be messing that up. F2gentertainment.com. Info at F2gentertainment.com. Kelly is going to get me because I am messing that one up. So I want y'all to make sure that y'all are doing that as soon as possible. Get in on this. It is time for us to move forward. And our 2023 schedule is amazing. So I want to give y'all this week. The last week in December, we will not have morning social. I'll probably jump on for like a quick Friday the 23rd. Maybe do that, but literally, y'all, we will not have morning social the last week, which will be next week, I believe. Yeah, next week. So morning social won't happen. It's the holidays. I'll probably still do it. Let's just be honest. If God says go, I'm going. I'm just saying. Bree told me, Mama, stop messing it up. I know, right? So we are enjoying our lives and we want you to enjoy yours. Go about your day. Have a great day on purpose. Do everything that you do through your purpose. Make sure that you're loving yourself and loving others. And even when you got somebody who's not loving on you the way they should, do yourself a favor. Let it go. That's what I have for that. Let it go, and sometimes you got to let them go. Y'all have a good day. Love y'all. Bye.